SHTF.
Ah, look at that.
Morning, Sal.
10.
How you doing?
10 guys in the...
Yeah, I'm doing good.
I'm going to go
How are you
ahead and...
doing? Up early this morning.
I'm going to go ahead and mute those guys for a few. Oh, no. Can't do that. Hey, good morning. See. Wow. 8 of us so far in the room. And, yeah. Tim, Jeff, Peter, Shell is in there. Shell, I hope you're feeling better. I heard you were just a little bit under the weather. Anyway, you know what? I think we should start out with a little jamming music here. I love this stuff, man. Oh, God, that just... I love that. Giamatora, the man who jams on Instagram. I love that stuff. Okay, good morning. Jane is in the house from Texas. Cloworther, hello from Utah. Oh, one state over. Alan is in the house, long-time worker, first time check-in. Good morning. Terry O'Neill, good morning from Charlotte, North Carolina. K4NCM, good morning to you. And, yeah, Jeff is in the house. He's working NetLogger this morning. So if you want to get yourself logged in on NetLogger and be an official part of the K6 UDA, or, well, no, this is the Southern Idaho Command. This has nothing to do with the K6 UDA channel, except it just shares equipment. We're here about each other. We're not here about playing radio. We're here about surviving the next big whatever, which may be sooner than we think. Oh, God. All right, let's come into the prepper screen there, and everybody's stuff is in there.
Yeah, I don't have much.
And I see, yep, K6SAL and W6DUG. They're in the house having a little conversation. I hope they get done before we start, or I'm gonna have to kick one of them out of here.
And between the two,
wouldn't that be something? Have to kick everybody off.
You know, kind of one, put the bucket down and hold it, scoop into it. You know, those.
Yeah, they're just going to town there. We got about 10 minutes before we start the big show. Anybody got anything while we're sitting around waiting? Kind of got. I think it's kind of a cool show.
Yeah, well, next
today.
Wednesday is supposed to be
cool net,
pretty hot,
cool
so
show.
we'll probably want to start
The
morning.
CV Farmer, good morning from the People's Republic of Michigan. He is working, feeding about 5,000 cows. Holy shit. That's a lot of cows.
The dump part ain't
That's
the
a
big
lot
deal.
of cow shit. I tease my wife when we go by the dairies here out here, and you get that smell.
Just back up and dump.
And guys, if you haven't ever smelled that smell, when you finally do, you're gonna know exactly what it is. I always tell her it smells like money. Man. So, good morning.
All right, Doug.
Good afternoon, I guess, maybe, if you're... Well, no, it's still fairly early there. Man, I've got all that blank. We got 7 nodes. Count them. 7 nodes on the show today, or on the net so far. I'd like to get more. I'm kind of wondering what you guys think. How do we get more participation here on the net, especially on the radio? smells like home when you grew up on a farm, says Shelley. Hey, yeah, I guess if you grew up on a farm, that's the way things smell. Everybody smells like cow crap. Let's see so far. Jeff says we got 13 logged in the first 5 minutes. Love it. I do too, man. That's awesome, dude. That is awesome. 29 people on the stream so far. It looks like there's 6 people. Or 6 nodes connected. Patrick Keever, from Western North Carolina, KO4HKX. Man, my eyes are just getting so bad. HKX. Yep, there you go. Good morning. Good morning, Patrick. Let's see what else. Man, you don't even know where to begin in the news these days. It seems like we're just getting closer and closer and closer to something really, really breaking. Hey, how about Trump? How about that? I'm going to switch cameras here. Yeah, you know what? I am today 34 times more MAGA than I was before. And we'll go back over to camera 1 and back over to the big screen here. Man, how about that debate? Oh, God. If it showed the country anything, and I guess even the liberal media had to admit it. What a joke. What a joke Biden is. But, honestly, I don't want him to drop out. And I think this was the Democrats' move. This was their way of kind of pushing him out the door. Because now their big donors are probably going to demand that they get rid of him. A lot of theories. There's a lot of theories about what would happen. The most scary to me would be it was not a debate. It was a scary nightmare. Yeah. The worst possible outcome of that to me would be Gavin Newsom. Holy shit. That guy scares me no end. I have watched him in California just destroy. He destroyed San Francisco as mayor. He has destroyed California in the, 8 years that he has been the governor now. Just unbelievable. I have watched as things have gone downhill. Ken, SA7AKU from Sweden. DX, my friend, DX. That's freaking awesome. 5 minutes until we hit the big button here. We got 8 nodes connected right now. If you have Wires X at your house or within your reach, go ahead and connect up a node. It is room 40448. And if you look at the here at the little title screen down in the bottom center, you're going to notice something a little bit different at the bottom there. YSF. We have now gotten a new YSF node. I got my own node going, or my own reflector. I want to thank Ken, local guy here, KB7 DFP, who programmed that thing up. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. But starting next week, I think the Idaho command will be the YSF, and it also matches. So if you go to YSF on your hotspot and you type in 40448 or Idaho command, you can hook up. And I believe we're gonna try it next week. We're just gonna go live with the thing, and it's still over at Ken's place, undergoing some testing. We're just kind of right now testing. Feel free, if you want, to put your hotspot in YSF mode. If you've got an open spot like I do here, you can throw that thing in cross mode, and you could cross mode from D-Star if you've got a D-Star radio, from DMR if you've got a DMR radio. And I was actually going to do some DMR, but I'm having a couple of issues with the DMR radio that I was going to use. So haven't done it yet. Okay, Prep Ham Paul back on the node. Good morning, Paul. Good to see you. Let's see. 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes. Will I be leaving the new YSF up all the time? Yeah, YSF is available all the time. So honestly, if you go to the Idaho Command YSF side, you can get into the local repeater here, and if I've got a radio on, I'm gonna hear it. Even if I don't have my radio on, the node radio is on, and I've got some sound that I keep the volume up enough that I'd be able to hear it. And then I run in here and I turn on grab a handheld, grab something, and do that. CUCV Farmer says, and I've got to get ready to start this in a minute here. People's Republic of Michigan, Comrade says, hold my beer. The Comrade in the People's Republic of California. Holy shit, yeah. Gavin is, I kid you not, you have to, if you've never lived in California, you do not know. I call him the most dangerous man in America because he is determined to do what he's done to California throughout this country. He will destroy your Second Amendment rights. He will destroy energy in this country completely. He'll mandate his electric vehicles, and it is time for me to go ahead and start this thing. So, with that, I will talk to you guys after we get done on the radio. Let's see. I need to go here. All right, let me make sure that I have. Oh, hang on here. Okay, let me make sure that I've got it at this point here. And I'm going to set those up, set the buttons up so I'm kind of in the house now. Welcome to the Southern Idaho Command. I am Bob, K6UDA, and this is the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. This net meets every Saturday morning, 0900 hours Mountain Time, on the K6UDA repeater located here in Twin Falls, Idaho. This is a digital-only net, accessible via Wires X Room 40448, the Idaho Command. YSF reflector, well, I'm going to just say YSF reflector now, 40448, also the Idaho Command. That will begin next week. For today, you could still get in here from 56026, but we're gonna close that one down very soon. The Hanson Butte 2-meter fusion repeater on 145.170 and local hams without a digital radio can also get in from the 442.000 in analog mode. You can also participate. Let me make sure that I've got it. The purpose of this net is the free exchange of information related to emergency preparedness, commonly known as prepping. We encourage deep dives into subjects related to food, water, shelter, personal protection, weapons, survival tactics, medical issues, communication gear, and techniques. I'm looking for subject matter experts to lead discussions on all these various subjects. If you have material you'd like to present or discuss, when you check in, please indicate that you have a subject. Although not primarily political, discussion of relative political, cultural, or religious events are welcome in the context of situational awareness and survival. In order to give everyone an opportunity to be heard, I'm going to do check-ins and comments in the following order. I'll ask for local repeater check-ins, then Wires X check-ins, then YSF check-ins, and then Jeff will do live stream comments, and he will get everybody checked in. If you're on the live stream right now, you can also put your call sign in. Jeff will get you logged in there on NetLogger, and you'll be an official part of the net. You're encouraged to check in with your first name, call sign, location, how you're getting onto the net, i.e. the local repeater, Wires X, or YSF. That being said, do we have any local repeater check-ins?
KJ7 RAR Jerry Twin Falls through local repeater.
All right, Terry, thanks for being part of the net, and Terry's gonna lead a discussion next week, and he's gonna talk about it a little bit during the sit reps. Let's see, any other local repeater check-ins?
Kilo 7 Julia Tango Kilo, Mount Twin Falls.
All right, KK7 JTK Matt, good to see you, and Matt will probably be back in with the sit reps for this week. More local check-ins on either the K6UDA repeater or any of the other two repeaters in the area. All right, that sounded like Ken, who's probably stuffed away in an office somewhere. Ken, you're a little bit scratchy, but you are in there. Local repeater check-ins. We'll do one more call for that this time, and then we'll move to Wires X. Can you guys hear me on the live stream or hear the radio? Okay, how about some Wires X check-ins? Wires X, go ahead and check in now.
This is Doug, W6DUG, coming in on a PDN mode through Wires X, and I am from the People's Republic of California.
Doug, welcome back to the net. Good to have you, and thanks for being part. Any other Wires X check-ins? Wires X, check in now.
This is WY7 CDL, Blue Mountain, Utah.
All right, WY7CDL, welcome to the net. What's your name and where are you from again? It's clicking in and out.
Not sure who you were talking to. This is Bryce.
All right, Bryce, welcome to the net. KD7 VLB from 140 miles away. Good signal. Any other Wires X check-ins?
KD8IOK, Wires X, Tawas City, Michigan.
All right, KD8IOK, Jeff, good to see you, and thanks for helping out and running half the show here. Other Wires X check-ins. All right, how about we'll move on to YSF. YSF check-ins on the 56026.
This is Sierra Alpha 7 Alpha Kilo uniform from Sweden. Come.
SA7AKU from Sweden. 5,300 miles, my friends. I think you just set a record. Welcome to the net, my friend, and I hope you enjoy. Other YSF check-ins.
EVQ, Mark from Patterson, California.
All right, KN6 EVQ. Mark, good to have you on the net. Welcome back. Wires X check-ins. Space them out, guys, because if there's two in there, you'll step on each other. All right, and I just saw Ken KB7 DFP on the Idaho Command, on the Idaho Command YSF room. So and he's talking. I can't really hear it because I don't have that radio plugged in here. Let's see. We'll continue with Wires X check-ins. Okay, hearing none, let's get ourselves underway here. We'll move into sit reps. For those of you on the radio, I had mentioned before, thanks to Ken, KB7DFP, he built a working and now functioning YSF reflector out of a Pi. It is on YSF node 40448, the Idaho command. And that one will be going live. We'll be taking over next week on next week's net. We're going to move all that YSF traffic over to the Idaho command. We're going to be testing it. It is up full time. You can get on anytime you want from your hotspot. And let's see. Terry, KJ7RAR. You've got something for sit reps?
Yeah, I do. This is KJ7RAR. For what I will expand on next Saturday morning in greater detail. As some of you know, I'm a pastor, been studying end-time prophecy for 40 plus years and teaching it. But my focus has been on Israel and what's going on in the Middle East. And things are coming to a point where it's getting very serious, and there's very well going to be a war with Hezbollah, which is to the north of Israel. And when that happens, I have no doubt that there's going to be other Arab nations joining in, which would be Lebanon, Yemen, we have Syria, and Iraq, and possibly even Iran at this time. But it's going to be a major. Right now, they're fighting on 7 sides, and it's going to expand and get worse. And we need to watch that. We mostly watch what's going on, I think, in Russia and Ukraine, and that is important. There are also Taiwan and China. But what's going to really break loose, and I think it's time to happen, is going to be in Israel. This has been setting up. We're seeing anti-Semitism, you know what I mean, going on in around the world. It's getting worse. We see the Palestinians in every nation that they're in, causing problems in every nation that they're in. I'm anticipating the Palestinians in America to begin to cause some major issues. And for those of you that don't know, no Arab nation wants them around them or in their nation at all, because wherever they go, they cause war, havoc. And Jordan at one time brought them in and was trying to take care of them, and they tried to overthrow Jordan. So they're not a peaceful nation. So we're going to get in. I'd like to get in and be able to bring you guys up to date on what's happening in Israel and what I believe is going to happen based on 40 years of studying and watching this develop. So that's just a short little set of what's going on now and what's going to happen. Right now, it's getting more serious, and America is not supporting them like they said they would and like we've always been. And that's going to basically open the door for Israel to have to do what they have to do, which is going to truly cause the battle and the war to grow, expand, and get more serious. So I'd like to take a little time next week and cover that in detail, in specifics. So this is KJ7RAR.
All right, Terry. Hey, thanks for doing that. And now you can pack and head out for your trip. Next up, Matt, JTK. Go ahead with your sit rep.
Yeah, good morning. This is Kilo 7 Julia Tango Kilo, and just have a couple things in the news this week that could affect us. You know, I don't want to use any scare tactics for sure, but you know, just things that happen around, they affect us, whether it's financially, stock markets, or they affect us, you know, in the future. So just have a couple things to report. We'll start with Ukraine this week. There was a missile fired earlier in the week from Ukraine towards, I'm going to butcher the name, Sevastopol, and that was a military installation. That missile was shot down, and the debris field landed on a beach, like a public beach where vacation goers are, and it killed 12 and injured various other people. And so, regardless of where the missile was fired and who it was intended for, the reality is that a U.S.-based smart weapon landed on the beach and killed civilians in Russia. Of course, we reported last week that Russia was saying there would be consequences if U.S. smart munitions were still allowed to be shot across the border into Russia, and conveniently this week that happens again, and civilian casualties. So regardless of intentions and everything, the headlines are that a U.S.-made smart munition killed civilians in Russia. So also, whether it's coincidence or not, an American recon drone was in the area during the strike, which also doesn't, whether somebody used that recon drone as a reason to shoot a missile at the same time to put the finger on us, or whether we're actually using it, we just don't know that information. We can speculate all day. That brings us to riots in Nairobi. I'm going to do a quick break. So in Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, there's reported that they're having riots there, and one of the small, seemingly insubstantial things that happen are we're seeing Russian flags during some of these riots. The thing that's really interesting is here, we had a similar report a couple months ago when we were talking about the riot in Niger. Both of these two countries are non-NATO countries. A couple months ago during these riots, what ended up happening is U.S. forces pulled out and Russian forces pulled into the same exact bases. In fact, at one point they were co-located on the same base for a short amount of time. We're thinking something similar is going to happen in Kenya. I know that we've reported over the last couple months that China and Russia has significantly spent more investment in sending food and relief to these nations who are, no longer NATO or friendly, really, to Americans. So, despite years and years of political work and trying to help out nations, it looks like more and more are becoming unpopular in that region of the world. Break. Tensions are high in Lebanon. I know that Terry just reported on the war north of Israel. Lebanon is north of Israel, and what's happening is the tensions are so high in Lebanon that other foreign nations have asked their citizens to leave the area so that if something does happen, they don't have to send rescue missions in to Lebanon to pull their people out. Also, the U.S. Navy has moved assets into the region. Another quick thing, I know that we've reported in the past that the U.S. has not backed Israel. It did on June 27th. Israel had a report saying that they were going to get a shipment of arms that they've been asking the U.S. for quite a while, and that's supposed to start today. The controversy is these are unguided munitions, and so that's kind of where that lies in. But it looks like Lebanon and other countries in the region, probably with way better intel than we can get, are asking their civilians to get out now. June 27th in Bolivia, General Juan Jose Zenga launched a military coup. They were able to successfully penetrate the palace, but the coup was put down within a few hours. This is right on the heels of Bolivia signing a multi-billion-dollar deal with China, allowing China to access what is thought to be the largest lithium mines in the world. Another quick report on the Red Sea. In the Red Sea, one vessel navigating through there reported 5 attempted missile strikes on their ship, but no strikes landed. And then the very last thing we have here is the local news, and so there's some severe flooding in Minnesota. There was a dam there that suffered a partial breach, and then in Iowa, flooding caused a levee failure on the Little Sioux River. And so, when we talk about the preparedness, that this is what it's about, right? What are the things locally that we have to prepare for, and whether that's power or water or flooding, those are all things we need to consider and make sure we're taking care of our houses. The last thing to report, there was a train derailment in Illinois causing an evacuation. And again, how would we respond if everything's prepared to stay in, but we get evacuated? What are we going to do? So just things to think about as we talk about our prep and some considerations for the show today and what we're going to talk about with antennas. So that's it for me. This is KK7JTK.
All right, Matt, thank you for that. Great information. This is Bob, K6UDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. I've got one more thing. This comes from, and I just put it up on the screen, Why 1504. The Supreme Court of the United States, the Supreme Court, they have struck down a thing called Chevron deference. And Chevron deference is was a doctrine that has been going on for many, many years, where politicians wouldn't pass laws. They would rely on what they called the experts, the EPA, FDA, FCC, ATF, for making up their own regulations. They would decide, hey, we're gonna do this now, or what are they called? Braces. Braces are no longer legal. Got to take them off your rifle or your AR handgun. I'm gonna let it drop for a second. This was not done as a Second Amendment case. I assume, or I imagine, it's going to affect a bunch of Second Amendment cases, or at least a few of them. This was actually done in defense of, or to the benefit of, a bunch of the January 6th folks who have been languishing in jails and prison for the last 3.5 years. So good news for them. A lot of these convictions, I think, are going to end up being overturned, and a lot of people who didn't deserve to be languishing in jail are going to be let out. Does anybody else have any kind of a sit rep for us? Okay, looking at the screens, it looks like we've got 8 nodes on board, 8 Wires X nodes on board. Don't know how many people are listening on YSF, lurking in the background there. 44 people on board on the live stream with 32 thumbs up. I'd appreciate to get 44 thumbs up. I know we had over 50 people at one point there. Whoop! I just screwed up. The screen there. Let's see. I'm gonna let it drop for a second. All right, Jeff. We have comments from the live stream side.
88 IOK. Just a couple so far. CUCV Farmer mentions that there's a massive amount of flooding in Iowa and Minnesota along the Mississippi River, and also that gasoline and diesel fuel has gone up around 30 cents a gallon. In western Michigan, it's more like 40 to 50 cents a gallon over here in northeast Michigan where I'm located. And that's it for the comments so far.
All right, very good. Let's see. Also, looking here, I'm seeing the pistol brace design was to help handicapped shooters use their rifles or their AR handguns in ways that that most people, normal, able-bodied people, can't or they weren't able to use their rifles the way a normal, able-bodied, two-handed person could do it. That's the original intent of the pistol brace. That was from Miko Wolf. Let's see. Gene McPhee asking about best ways to monitor military commo frequencies and other U.S. frequencies and associated equipment. That's a suggestion maybe for future topics. Sounds good, and I don't know much about it. I'm gonna let it drop. And today we're gonna get into our main topic of discussion. This one came from to me from a Facebook post, and I'm gonna put this up. This was a Facebook group, Radio Preppers, that I'm a part of, and a guy asked a real simple question. And I'm going to go ahead and ID. This is K6UDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. Anyway, guy made this. Connor said in a SHFT or TF situation, you can learn a lot by listening while maintaining radio silence. This brought a flood of comments. Everything from you don't need to worry about it to you can't ever pick up a mic. If you touch the mic, you're going to give your position away. So I figured, man, that's kind of interesting, and I want to talk about it. So that's the topic today. So in short, it's short and to the point. That statement has garnered lots of comments. It compelled me to respond here and gave me the inspiration to do this topic today. So, in an SHTF situation, you can learn about a lot by listening. It's a simple statement, very, very true. I have espoused this time and time again. That's why people get on scanners and they're listening on scanners. Listen to the police, fire, aircraft frequencies, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of information can be had just by listening. So first off, what type of SHTF events are we looking at? First one I consider is a natural disaster. In a natural disaster, most radio communications are still going to be permitted and encouraged as necessary. There won't be any change from the way there is today. In the case of an EMP, let's say there's an EMP, my greatest fear. We're going to have lots of radio equipment are going to be rendered useless. Some radio equipment is going to survive. If you're smart, you've put a little bit of radio equipment away for that rainy day. In the big cities, I can see roving gangs might take advantage of radio intel to loot. There you go. Listening, being very judicious with your transmissions. In smaller or more rural areas, there'll be less of the gangs type of thing, at least in the beginning. And remaining radios will be more of a community asset. It depends upon how things play out in the duration of an event. In the case of a foreign invasion, occupied areas are going to see massive restrictions of radio to official news and propaganda only. Resistance radio will have to adapt. Small, portable, clandestine stations will be the norm in occupied area. This is your typical war zone area of operation. It's happened time and time again all over the world, from World War II through modern day. And then there's societal and economic collapse. This one is the one that we should all be worried about, or most worried about, as far as communications. What happens if our own government or our military turn on us? Where and how would radio be most and least effective? How would affected people operate in that kind of an environment? Who's the enemy? Who's your friend? What info is important enough to transmit when you're fighting against nearly everyone else in that AO? You've got government actors, you're going to have criminal gangs, and you're going to have hungry and desperate people. And this is K6UDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. I'm going to take a quick break here and ask for check-ins anywhere for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. And let's see, Jeff, do we have any check-ins on your side?
I don't have any new check-ins. I have 29 logged so far. Everybody that's been putting their calls up on the YouTube chat are logged. Love to hit 30.
That would be awesome. Okay, anybody on YSF or Wires X care to check in? All right, hearing none. We'll get back to the subject here. Listening. In an SHTF situation, there will be most likely some commercial radio stations will be operating. There's also going to be clandestine stations operating, i.e. pirate radio at that point. Why? Because they're going to want to pass news, information, or propaganda, and to entertain people. That's always a big part of any kind of a SHTF situation, is keeping people's minds occupied. And so radio has historically and continues to be one of the main sources of entertainment. We only have to look back a few months to see that no country, nation, or government has been able to completely shut down radio transmissions and the passing of intel on a clandestine basis. Commercial stations operating in crap hits the fan. They may be a good source of information on how and where listeners can get needed supplies, medical attention, or shelter. For us, operating at a higher level, presumably because most of us are hams. Oh, hang on. Where am I? We may presumably have met those basic needs. Most of us, at least here on this, have some sort of preparations in place. But we still need to get intel. We need to know what's going on outside the house, outside the neighborhood, down the street, and across the country. All that intel is going to tell us likely where there's concentration of people or threats. Maybe your bug out location is along the path where people are going to be traveling. It's good to know that kind of information ahead of time. In some areas, commercial radio may pass vital intel to resistance through coded messages or other means. Remember, not all areas of the country would be affected, even if we were facing a foreign invasion or some kind of a political or military coup. Think of an AM broadcast station at night. People can hear it for hundreds or thousands of miles. Now think of things like Radio Free America, how important they've been. Clandestine radio stations. Although they're always a bit different from the broadcast station, a clandestine station serves much of the same purpose. It's just more of a target for the enemy forces. Clandestine radio stations will most likely be operating close to or inside of an occupied area. They'll be passing coded messages to resistance forces, embedded or trapped people in the operating area. The danger to those who choose to run or transmit on these stations is very, very high. If a voice resonates with the pacified population, enemy forces will move quickly and decisively to shut it down and make an example of these dissenters as a warning to others. Do we have any questions or comments so far?
KD8IOK for some chat comments.
Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, in the chat, Miko Wolf brings up a couple good comments. Yeah, you can learn a lot more information on the radio, probably more accurate than television or even special news channels. And another good point is if the power goes out, people's power supplies for the radios aren't likely to work, and therefore only those that are prepped for that specific situation are going to have communications. So the airwaves have the potential to be dead. Should be able to hear for miles. There's not going to be a lot of plug up.
Yeah, very good points. That is a very distinct possibility. All right, any other comments?
Yeah, this I was kind of tracking this when I first got into ham radio because I didn't necessarily want a big tower on my house. Now I put a big tower up so that I could
talk a little better. But you know, it is kind of a huge deal. You know, if you have HOAs, if you have neighbors, they're like, what is that thing on top of your roof? And so, yeah, I mean, I think when we talk about a common word we use in prepping is gray man theory, right? You know, when I was younger, I used to carry around a camo backpack with all the straps on it that would have a gun or whatever in it. Now I find myself carrying just a green, normal-looking backpack, or you know, just driving basic cars and not making them memorable and not putting stickers on them and trying to make them blend in, and just things where you try not to stand out. And I think that's a big deal for us as hams, as we, you know, have our radios, and our plan is to be able to communicate. I think best practice though would be use your home station as listening stations, and then go out somewhere well away or towards what you're trying to talk to, and then go ahead and transmit, and then leave the area. I think we've seen in the war in Ukraine where someone turns on a radio, and the technology is so sophisticated now that instantly artillery rounds are headed that way based on that transmitter's location. So you're seeing that with drone pilots, you're seeing that with radios. So almost exclusively what they've done is deprogram the transmit frequencies on their radio. So even if they bump the transmitter, it's not going to transmit. So I think we need to look at that and realize what is happening and what kind of counter electronic warfare is out there. And you know, I'd have to say that technology that will be used in the near future will be better than it is today. That's just the logical path. So I'd be real careful with those transmitters and you know, advertising that you have the ability to, and that's it. I mean, I think there's a joke called the clueless operator, right? These are people who don't have any way to charge their radios, don't have a plan for primary, secondary, tertiary contacts and how they're going to talk to people. And I think, unfortunately, some of us fall into that category, myself not included. I'm having a fun time playing with the radio, but I don't actually have a plan of who and how I want to talk to them if things didn't go good. Kilo 7 JTK.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Good things to think about. The gray man theory. And I know to those of us who operate HF, while we're in good times, we've got towers. Those towers do stick out like a sore thumb. So I think things like POTA and SOTA are great activities right now to get involved in, to teach you how to pack up small, pack up light, and get a signal out anyway. Let's see. We'll move into clandestine small radio teams. This is the most of us. This is the grunt on the ground. Small teams of 2 to 10 people with specific little missions, portables or HTs. I am talking about running low power, super low power. This is why I like some of the Japanese radios over things like Baofangs. Baofangs have high and low power. A 5-watt setting for the high power, maybe 10 watts. And a low setting, which is like 1 or 2 watts. My FT5, my ICOM radios, my Kenwood radios, even my Anytone, and amazingly, a little TID radio have multiple power settings, power output settings, getting you down to half a watt output, which in a small... hang on here. Ken, I am hearing I'm hearing some beeping and feedback. I think it's coming from the Idaho Command YSF. If you're anywhere near that, you can disconnect it. Okay. I heard that in the background and it was like, what is going on? All right, K6UDA with the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. All right, so anyway, using those super low power on HTs, doing that with heavily attenuated antenna systems, not the big backpack mounted antennas, doing things like encryption, which we can't do legally, but it is possible. Frequency hopping, digital messages or digital modes, which knock out quite a bit of that analog traffic. Just look at us now. There's a lot of guys locally here that they tell me, hey, I don't have a digital radio. I can't listen. I can't hear the net. And in a crap hits the fan situation, that's a good thing. You want less people to be able to pick up your transmissions and do things, especially people you don't know. Other things we can that we could practice are coded messages or combinations of all of the above. Now, things that you gotta think about. Is your transmission mission critical? Is it when it really goes to crap, other than a natural disaster kind of a thing? When it really goes to crap, especially if you've got a foreign enemy or a domestic enemy, transmitting becomes a matter of life and death. You don't want to just get on the radio to chit chat or do a quick little, I call this a practice net. We are practicing for worse times and being able to get on a net and pass information. Because the intel is vital. Finding sources of food and water, securing paths of travel, safe travel, secure trade routes and secure trading to meet up with your family, friends, or your or mutual combatants, listening for those guys and figuring out where they are. Let's see. You got to also think, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. When crap hits the fan and everybody is hungry, tired, bloody, and especially after months or years of living in that kind of hell, political lines are going to get very blurred. Constitution-loving patriots and the free stuff for everyone commies may have a common enemy, especially when everyone is hungry. And Jeff kind of added some stuff here. If you're doing one of these kinds of clandestine nets or you're operating clandestine, consider doing it away from your safe house or your bug out location so you don't put your family or loved ones or your caches in danger. You might want to consider pre-planning certain times and frequencies to monitor between your local friendlies. Consider learning and adopting the Wilderness Protocol, which is a dedicated effort to ensure emergency communications in the event local repeaters are off the air in an emergency situation. Better yet, create your own independent protocol for your specific circles. And that means like, hey, in a crap hits the fan situation, I'm going to turn my radio on at the top of the hour or 15 minutes after the top of the hour, and I'm going to listen for 5 minutes. And if there's important information, the people that need to pass that information are going to key up and make a contact during that 15 minutes after. And you're going to do that for 5 minutes, and you're going to do that every hour, because now getting on the radio and listening becomes a very important thing. Let's see, you want to consider coded messages. Using the app, what 3 words for meeting up at predetermined points. If it's available on the App Store, I downloaded it this morning, and it does work. You could point at any object on a map near you or far away from you. It gives you 3 random words, and you could share that with your friends. And if you are able to share that or set those meeting points up in advance, and you've got those 3 words, you can give them the 3 words. I'll meet you at Sugar Radio Tango, and they'll know exactly where you're talking about. Kind of a cool app for that. You might want to develop a plan and use other colored things to signal at a meetup point that it's safe to enter, or that there's danger and don't enter. You can also use those kinds of signs to indicate when it's safe or not to transmit. You might want to consider, like I said, visible, vibrant markers at rally points to let other people in your group or your association plan and arrive after you. Whether you could let them know whether that place is no longer safe and they need to continue on. Just keep walking. Construction survey ribbon, painted rocks, things that are very, very visible, that are found in common everyday life. Let's see. Wow, we are almost at the top of the hour. And so a couple of things. Radios, the HT thing, the Bowfangs especially. Currently, forces in Ukraine and Russia, they're using Bowfang radios. And yes, they are. As soon as they key up the radio, the opposing side, especially the Russians, have the ability to key in on that radio transmitter, and they're lobbing artillery shells at these guys, and a lot of Ukrainians have been blown up. We have to keep that in mind, especially if you're using things like Bowfang radios and they're transmitting at 2 watts or 5 watts, and they're able to be heard for a mile, 2 miles. That's why I like attenuated radio signals. You can cut those down so people might not be able to hear it or pick it up outside of maybe a couple of 100 feet or yards. And this is K6GDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. Let's see, encryption. Other than government actors are most likely going to have those simple analog radios, i.e. the Bowfangs. Simply using a digital radio like the Fusion radio, DMR, D-Star radios is like encryption. It's going to eliminate 90% of unwanted listeners to your semi-private conversations. While using Actual encryption on ham radio or GMRS radio is verboten until there is no rule of law. Once there is no rule of law, you can absolutely use scramblers or other means of encryption. Who cares at that point? Coded message. The platypus walks with a limp. If that has a meaning, if that has a pre-designed meaning or a message or some other phrase, the chair is against the wall, really famous from World War II. That can mean anything. And you're using plain language, but you're obfuscating the true meaning of your transmission. Frequency hopping, changing your frequencies, either on time or the number of transmissions. That's going to thwart another 60 to 70% of your listening audience. It'll keep them guessing as to why everything just went silent on that frequency, especially if they don't know how to use their radios very, very well. Misdirection. Sending messages intended to confuse or direct the enemy in the wrong direction. Been used forever, and I think it will be used continuously through whatever could happen or will happen. And then finally, mesh-tastic devices. This is something that I'm super new at, just now starting to learn about mesh-tastic. They are self-healing, non-connected networks that can pass text traffic, mapping traffic to a government actor, to an enemy force. It looks like something like a dog collar. It uses those same kinds of frequencies. It's not radio, but it is radio, and it's in some ways better as an off-grid communication device. I'm excited to learn about it. And in the near future, I think Matt, who kind of knows a little bit more than I do, is going to talk to us about Mesh-tastic and some of the things that they can do. Finally, I believe this is the end of it. If I'm direction finding, if I'm using my Yagi antenna, or I've got a super cool fox hunting equipment, and I could find it much easier to pick out a transmitter if he has a billboard in front of his house. Just like Matt said, if you've got a radio tower, they're already looking at you. If you know you're looking for a guy that's broadcasting on 40 meters at night, and you know that there's an antenna somewhere, or that he has a permanent antenna, you direction find that area that you think it might be. The obvious choices are the houses with the radio towers and antennas. You go to the first house, you look. If that doesn't pan out, you go back to square one. If your pirate radio station is a mobile, say it's in a car, an airplane, or a boat, and it's moving, it makes it very much harder to direction find. Moving targets are easy to identify as moving. You'll absolutely see the picket fencing in the signal. Moving targets that park stationary for the transmission period and then scurry off into the darkness are much harder to identify. But then you have to account for the fact that you still have to put up an antenna to get it to work. Much harder to conceal an ATAS 120 than it is to conceal a mag loop that you could throw in the trunk and then just drive away. That's all I've got. Does anybody have anything for the good of the net? Look at that. I finished up.
Okay. Couple comments.
Right on the money. Right on the money. Whoop. Hang on here. Okay, now I think I got it. Finished up right on the money. Jeff, KD8IOK, do you have anything to pass on?
KD8IOK, yeah. Couple comments from the chat. Miko Wolf suggests this is why the downsizing and converting everything to 12 volt and down for electricity just in case. Crap at the fan is a good thing. I couldn't agree more. Captain Wrongway suggests don't advertise your resources, keep a low visibility profile. In other words, don't paint a target on your back. Couldn't agree with that anymore. Miko Wolf also suggests people that have towers try to find a way to turn them into fake trees that they can still use when you live in the country somewhere. You turn your ham shack into something that looks totally different. Not a bad idea. A little camouflage. I think that covers the comments.
Okay, and I see Doug was asking what's the name of the app, and it's called What 3 Words. Automatically assigns 3 random words to any location. Kind of a cool idea. I haven't really dove into it yet. Anybody else have anything? Matt, JTK, do you have anything? I guess not. Okay. With that, anybody else have any parting words, comments, questions, anything? All right, my friends. As you could tell, I'm not practicing what I preach about being a gray man. I'm here putting myself out every week talking about this stuff, talking about preps. Doesn't necessarily mean that I have it. Doesn't necessarily mean that I don't, but it is what it is. Somebody's got to put themselves out there. Somebody has to do the tough things. And the Lord told me I am that guy. I need to do it, at least here. Let's see. It is 10:03, and I am going to go ahead and shut the net down. Thank you all for being part of the net. This was a fun one to do. Next week, Terry, KJ7RAR, will be in Studio A and bringing you some of his stuff. I like having people here in Studio A. Kind of really shakes things up. You're not looking at the same thing. My friends, thank you. I am going to say 7-3, and I am going to return all the repeaters back to their normal repeater operation. This is K6UDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. 7-3 all. Okay. Well, guys, that puts us all here, and okay, I can bring my mic back up, and then I can kind of hear what's going on around me. What did you guys think of today's topic? I don't know. It was long. We went the full freaking hour. Let's see. Pamela says my radios are mostly portable. Enjoy the simplicity of being able to transport my radios when needed. Yeah, that's a great thing. That's why I keep portables of different types. I've got Fusion. I have D-Star. I have DMR. I've kind of got a lot of stuff covered. And all of these do analog. So I can listen to all the analog traffic as well. Wow. Let's see. Does anybody have anything? Oh, good. Captain Wrongway says he liked it. And Jeff, great topic. Prepham Paul, neat. Great net. Good topic. Guys, thank you. That's I never know if something that I'm going to talk about is stupid to the group. And I'm not sitting here doing this for my benefit. Other than it helps me work on passing traffic and running a net. It's like running a 3-ring circus. The guys that were here last week, they figured out it's pretty much 3-ring circus, and I'm doing lots of stuff here while this net is going on. Let's see. I think we could probably run over to Discord. Let me fire up Discord. Yeah, Jeff, thanks. Lots to think. Yeah, there's a ton to think about. And I've often thought about making my outlines that I do available to you guys. I just don't know how I would really do it because, I put together so much information and I try to kind of boil it down so I could just move through it really quickly. And I think we're going to go ahead and move over to Discord in just a minute here. It's going to probably take a minute or two for that thing to fire up and get me going. Miko Wolf, very good topic. Practice and care and get ready just in case. Doesn't look good. No, it really doesn't look good for us. I am put it on the disc. Great idea. I can just post those things as documents on the Discord channel. There's nothing super secret about those things. It's downloading updates right now, and Discord just took a dump. Why? Why did Discord just take a dump on me? Downloading update 1 of 1. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Pick up a portable handheld scanner. They've got digital out there that goes up to P25 or P23. You can't talk, but you can listen. Yeah, and that's, I have thought about, and I used to own scanners, and it'll let you pick up some of the police traffic, the digital police traffic, P25. Posting may get more involved if folks can think about it before the net. Yeah. Okay, for some reason Discord is not firing up over here. Let me go over here to Discord on my phone. I might have to get on my phone here. Okay. I'm in on the phone. Downloading. I might have to just jump in on the phone and say screw it and not have a lot of downloading update 1 of 1. Yeah. Overachiever. Yes. That's cool. Yeah. Stuff after the show. Oh Lordy. And it doesn't want to work. For some reason, over there doesn't want to work. So what are we going to do? After show texts and after show live chat, I'm going to join voice. And there I am. I'm in Discord now on my phone. I haven't ever done a voice chat on the phone. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close it down here on YouTube. I want to thank everybody for joining, man. We had over 50 people at one point. We got 54 thumbs up. I appreciate that so much. Before I take off here, I want to ask you if you're new, if you just found this through, say, that Facebook group that I modeled this whole topic after, please consider subscribing. If you're around, if you've been around, consider consider a membership. Please subscribe, hit the bell notification, hit all that stuff. It looks like Discord is now updating. So I will be over there in just a minute. I'm Bob, K6UDA, and I'm out of here, my friends. 7-3, we'll see you next week. Okay, we ended the broadcast, and okay, can I get in here? Can I get in? I have to go to the Idaho command. There we go. Hey, good morning, guys. And I need to run over here real quick.